So hello everybody, a very good evening to all of you. I am Karishma Surana this side from team Wellcure, and I'm going to be moderating today's session. We'll just wait for a minute for more people to join, and then we'll start the session. Thank you for your patience. So before we begin this session, I would like to talk about a few ground rules that I would request all of you to stay on mute, and you can put your mobile phones on silent. For any communication, we'll use the chat box. I would request you to ask questions that are relevant to today's topic. You may want to take notes of whatever topics you find interesting or useful, and of course you can keep your cameras on. You can rename with your registered name. So I think most of you know what Wellcure is all about. For all those who are new to this platform, so Wellcure is a digital healing platform. We have various e-learning programs and live workshops and lots of recipes on our platforms, and testimonials of health journeys of people from varied age groups. And to know more about Wellcure, you can definitely check our website, or download our app from App Store or Play Store. So today in this session, we have our program experts with us, and they are going to talk about, what is anxiety and how does it manifest in the body, effects of anxiety on our breath and mind, and, how to begin. We'll also talk about the yogic approach to, manage anxiety, and of course, practical yoga nidra, meditation. And in the end, of course, we have an amazing special offer for all the participants here, and you can write your questions in the chat box, and we'll take Q&A in the end. So I would now like to take that opportunity to introduce our program experts to all of you. So Dr. Meghna Verma is a practicing psychotherapist, and she believes in combining yogic principles with modern psychology. She is an MBBS gold medalist, MBA and PGDMH from CMC Vellore, and her areas of work include anxiety, depression, relationship counseling, adolescent issues, and de-addiction, with special interest in yoga therapy. Now I would like to introduce Ms. Sudeepta to all of you. So she started practicing yoga in her early teens. She has trained under various yoga teachers in India and the US, and she also holds a master in biomedical engineering. And her 900 plus hours of yoga training includes 200 hours of yoga nidra training, level 1 and 2 training in special needs, yin, vinyasa, and many more. So it's an honor to have all the experts here. I would now like to introduce Ms. Priyanka to all of you. So she has been practicing yoga for the last 8 years, and she's a part of the Eka meditation team. She loves to share learnings from her own practice through the Eka app. So it's an honor to have all of you here with us today, and it's a pleasure for us. And over to you now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karishma. Welcome, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen. Yeah. So this program that we have on the Wellcure platform is called Relief from Anxiety. And probably this next picture is quite familiar to many of you, because you're here to hear about relief from anxiety. So anxiety looks very similar to this bird here. Sometimes it feels like chaos all around us, and we're not able to think or see clearly. We're totally confused. Sometimes it's a feeling of discomfort, which can stem from a sense of fear about the future, or about an upcoming event, or it could be something that has happened in the past, which is playing on our mind. It could also be just a single thought or emotion that continuously plays like a stuck tape recorder. and we're not able to come out of that loop of negative thinking. Sometimes it's just background chatter. Sometimes the external world is quite calm, but the internal turmoil is so significant that we're not able to live happily. We're not able to live and enjoy the present moment, whatever is in front of us at that moment. So the question is, how do we go from here to here? My slides are not moving. Give me a moment. Yeah, all right. So how do we get here to this place of calm and stillness? So the good news is that it is possible to trace our steps back from this place of anxiety to a place of calm and peace. And we can sustain that peace of mind for a period of time by using tools from our yogic practices in combination with modern science, and try to bring ourselves back to balance each time we are thrown off. And being thrown off is not something that is specific to one person, right? All of us go through it. There are ups and downs in everyone's life. It's just that sometimes it gets out of hand for some of us. And in that moment, if we learn the techniques to bring us back to balance, and we will be able to be present in that current moment instead of going into the past thoughts or worrying about the future. Now, let's look at how we approach anxiety and relief from it at Eka. We have physical practices. We look at the body and how we can use the body as a tool to help us come back to balance. We will be doing a small physical practice also shortly. Then we look at breath and pranayama techniques. How can we modify the breath to help us come back to balance, especially because it helps to reset our nervous system. It takes us out of our fight and flight mode and puts us into a rest and digest mode. And then things become a lot more calm. We can see more clearly. Then we also look at how to manage negative thoughts, how to bring ourselves out of a panic attack, out of that anxious moment. So there are some quick release techniques that we provide. And lastly, we look at improving sleep patterns through the practice of Yoga Nidra. So these are some of the things that you will be able to explore in the program, which is on the Wellcure platform. Let's look at how anxiety shows up in the body. So just like these cartoon characters here, each one of us will feel different things when we are anxious. For some of us, it could be sweating, it could be pain in the physical body, especially in the neck and lower back. There are a lot of complaints about that. It could be physiological changes like increase in heart rate, the palpitations. You can feel your heart beating strong. It could be a sense of breathlessness, where the breath is very fast, or you feel like you're just not able to take enough air in, shallow. It could be sleeplessness. You're not able to fall asleep at night, or if you fall asleep, you are very restless, you wake up multiple times, and then you're not able to go back to sleep. Or it could be that you sleep, but when you wake up, you're just not fresh. You feel very tired in the morning. It could be emotional, it could be thought related, where you're experiencing grief or fear a lot of the time. You may not be able to concentrate on tasks that you're doing, and it could interfere with your interactions with your friends, family, with your workplace. And all of this effectively makes it such that we cannot enjoy our life. We cannot enjoy the present moment in front of us. So the first step that you will take when you join this program is you'll be given a self-assessment. And this is the Hamilton A rating scale, which Meghna also will talk a little bit about later. And this is a self-assessment which will take you through a lot of questions that you have to answer, and it will tell you where you are on the anxiety scale. So it goes from all the way on the left to all the way on the right, right? So the anxiety could be severe, it could be moderate, it could be mild. So based on that, you will be given recommendations. And generally for moderate to high, we recommend that you see a psychotherapist, work with them, because they have so many other techniques that they will be adding in addition to yoga. And in yoga, what are the techniques that can help us? On this on the platform, we have introduced you to 7 different yogic techniques to help manage anxiety. And these are practices that you would do on a daily basis. Then you have quick release techniques that help you in those anxious moments when you're having a panic attack, for example, or when you start feeling that sense of rapid breathing or restlessness or palpitations, all the symptoms that I described a little bit earlier. So those are also there. And the last section is the long-term management of anxiety. And this is where you have practices which will take you through recognizing your patterns, how to figure out what your triggers are, and what do you do once you discover them. Okay. So let's look at the first aspect that I said we would, which we covered in the practice, and that is movement. That's the physical body. Now, movement doesn't necessarily mean that you have to get out and of the house and move. Sometimes it could just be that you do a body scan. It could just be that you do a muscle relaxation technique, which we will be doing shortly. And I request all of you to kind of think about, what kind of person are you? Are you someone who is not able to get up out of bed in the morning? Do you feel this sense of lethargy, inability to move? Or is it that you are extremely active? You go to the gym, you work out, you run long distances, you swim, you bike, whatever it is, but you're extremely active, but you're not able to relax. So which of these 2 categories do you fall into? And depending on what you discover when you think about it, you may need to use a different approach in movement. So someone who is not able to get out of bed in the morning, who's feeling very lethargic through the day, you may have to start the process of moving. So start with simple exercises like progressive muscle relaxation, for example, and then introduce movement techniques for the joints, and then slowly build probably an asana practice, or start taking walks, something simple to get you started, because that is what will help you to release endorphins, the positive chemicals in the body which help you feel happy. And if you are the opposite, if you already have a very, very a high intensity workout, but you're not able to relax, then you could add an asana practice to your regimen. It's not necessarily asana, any kind of stretching and balancing routine to help you to calm down and relax. Maybe you can add yoga nidra practices which are there on this program to your regimen to help you to bring your body back to balance. Because either end is not good, like you're extremely active, not able to relax, or you're extremely lethargic, not able to move. So trying to find that medium, coming to balance. So let's do the first practice today. Let's do it together. This is called progressive muscle relaxation, and it's, in simple terms, it's called tense and relax. Basically, we're going to bring tension into the muscles of our body, and then we're going to relax and let go of that tension. So let's start by sitting comfortably with the legs stretched out in front of us. We'll do just the arms, then just the legs, and then the whole body together. Just notice how you feel before doing the practice. Take a couple of easy breaths in and out. And bring your arms out in front of you and clench your fists. Make tight fists with your hands. Tighten up your wrists, your forearms, your elbows, your upper arms, and hunch your shoulders. Bring as much tension into the arms as you can. Squeeze and hold that tension. And keep breathing. When you can't hold any longer, breathe out, open out your fingers, relax your hands and arms. And notice the difference. Observe the sensations coming from your hands. Maybe a sense of tingling or warmth. And now we'll repeat the same thing with the legs. So starting with the toes, squeeze your toes, tighten your feet, your ankles, your calf muscles, pull up your kneecaps, tighten your thighs and your buttocks, and feel both your legs tighten up as much as you can. squeeze and hold that tension. Feel as if your mental tensions are also manifesting in your muscles. Squeeze them all out. And now breathe out and let go completely. Flop your feet to the side. And feel as if each exhale breath is helping you let go further. And now we'll do the whole body, starting from the face. So bring as much tension into the face as you can, as if you've eaten something sour or you're making a funny face. Hunch your shoulders, tighten your arms, clench your fists, tighten your belly, your back, your legs, all the way down to your toes. Feel all your tensions manifest in your muscles now. Hold and feel that tension. And when you can't hold any longer, breathe out, let go. And take a few easy breaths, feeling the muscles of the face relax. Consciously relaxing the shoulders and the arms, belly, hips, and legs. Take a couple more easy breaths in and out, relaxing further. Knowing that you can let go simply by doing this practice of tense and relax. And slowly open your eyes. And notice how that feels in your body. You can feel the connection between your body and your mind. Simply by tensing and relaxing your physical body, you can let go of the mental tensions and stresses. If you want, you can comment in the chat box on how you feel. And now let's move on to the second aspect, which is the breath. Our breath is something that is always there with us. It is our anchor. It is our ever-present anchor. And some of us think of the breath as just one aspect of our being, but really the breath is a diagnostic tool. It can help you figure out how you feel in this current moment. And it's also a tool which will help you to come back to balance. So there are many techniques in yoga, in pranayam, which help us to bring ourselves back to balance. It is such a simple process of modifying the breath, and just taking a few breaths in a particular way can completely change the state of the mind. And some of these techniques are very well researched, both Bhramari Pranayam and abdominal breathing. We'll be doing abdominal breathing shortly to help experience that difference. So what happens is, many times when we are tense or anxious, we tend to hold the belly tight. So what ends up happening is that we're breathing through the chest. We're mainly expanding and contracting the upper part of the chest, and it's generally shallower breath. So when we take a deep breath, when we allow the diaphragm is the muscle that's in the lower part of the rib cage, and it goes down when we breathe in. So if the belly is held tight, then the diaphragm is not able to go down. We feel restricted and tense. So once we let go of that tension in the belly, we can easily take a deep, slow breath in, and that kind of resets our state of mind. So let's experience that together now. Sit comfortably with your spine upright and your shoulders relaxed. And those of you who want to lie down, you can do it in Shavasana as well. Just settle in. Adjust the body till you feel comfortable and balanced. And begin to observe your breath. And notice if there's any tension in your lower abdomen or in your belly. Just relax and let go of that tension. If you're wearing a tight pant, or if you have a belt, you can loosen it. Just completely relax the belly area. And as you breathe in, expand your belly like a big balloon. And as you exhale, draw the belly in towards the spine. If you're not sure what's happening, you can just take a look. Inhale and expand your belly. Feel it expanding like a balloon. And exhale, slowly allow the air to escape naturally. And at the very end, draw the belly in towards the spine. Inhale and expand. Exhale as slowly as you can. Let go of the breath. At the very end, draw the belly in. Do this just 2 more times by yourself, expanding the belly till you reach full capacity without straining. And slowly exhale all the way out as slowly as possible. Last time. And exhale completely. Good. And notice how you feel after doing abdominal breathing. And now slowly open your eyes. If you're lying down, you can roll to your side gently and come up to a seated position. And you can share in the chat box how you felt after doing abdominal breathing. So I want to do, I'll just move on to the next slide. So this was the belly breathing that we just did. It's called abdominal breathing or diaphragmatic breathing. And it's one of the most effective ways to help you bring yourself back to the present moment. So there are so many ways in which we can connect back to the present moment, because anxiety is a state where we are completely in the mind. And if we try to do meditation at that time, it's very difficult because anxiety is an issue of the mind, where the mind is running 100 miles an hour with so many thoughts. So it's very difficult to concentrate on just observing something. So it's more effective if we can use our physical body, like how we did tense and relax, or by modifying the breath. It gives us something to do and to focus on, and we can take some action, and that kind of helps us come away from the thought pattern that we are stuck in. Whatever thought is running in our mind, we can disconnect from that and connect with the breath and work on modifying the breath. And as we do the practice, you would have noticed that breath by breath, you feel a little bit better, you feel a little bit more relaxed. And especially if you're doing abdominal breathing after having held your belly tight for a long time, which many of us are constantly doing, then, you know, as soon as you let go of the belly itself, you feel a lot of relief. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about is recognizing patterns. And this is the long-term management of anxiety. Many of us have triggers that we are unaware of. When we go into a particular situation, automatically we start feeling this sense of restlessness, or one of the symptoms that I spoke about earlier, you know, like you have rapid breathing or palpitations, or suddenly some pain starts in the body. So what is it that is triggering us? How can we figure out what is triggering us? This is the most tricky part, which is very difficult for many of us to kind of analyze, because in that moment, it just happens. So we don't know what the trigger is. Why have we suddenly gotten into this situation where we are struggling? It's very hard to see. And that's where the psychotherapist or the psychologist, we can help you to figure these patterns out. What are these thought patterns that we are stuck in? What is the trigger, and how can we get to the source of it? So I'd like to ask Meghna to talk a little bit about recognizing patterns and about the techniques that are used in psychotherapy to help address anxiety, and how relief from anxiety can be found through that.
Yeah, thank you, Sudeepta. So basically, a psychologist, any mental health professional, psychologist, will help you recognize these thought patterns which are based on some belief system. Now, that belief system could be something that you have inherited because the kind of family environment you have grown up in, or it could be the kind of behavioral attitudes you have picked up while which have helped you in certain times. Like, for example, anger, right? It helps you get things done quickly at home. If you kind of shout at your child, things get done. But then anger becomes a maladaptive emotion in office. While things are not getting done in office and you get angry, you cannot get angry at your colleagues or at your boss. So there, the same emotion which has probably, or the attitude which has worked for you in some places becomes maladaptive in certain other places. And that is when it starts to cause problems. And a psychologist will help you identify these underlying thought patterns and behavioral attitudes, which have become kind of automatic. We call them as automatic maladaptive thought patterns. In fact, we call them as distortions. So while most people will call them as negative thinking, a psychologist would not really want to be judgmental about negative or positive, right or wrong. It would be rather a maladaptive thought pattern or a cognitive distortion. So let me give you some basic examples of cognitive distortions, which are very common and which lead to anxiety. For example, catastrophizing. Catastrophizing is a thought pattern, which is like any situation, you are just jumping to the negative most conclusion. For example, your boss does not smile at you at work, and then the next thing you think is, like I have done something wrong and probably he's just not happy with me. Your child is crossing the road, and the next thing you think is, what if a bus comes at full speed and he's not able to cross the road in time. So this is something which is very, very common in anxiety, where people end up catastrophizing. There are other thought patterns which again lead to anxiety, like overgeneralization. Like overgeneralization is like, this is going to end up like this only. I mean, it's like, or trying to typically, label somebody like, oh, people from this community are like this only, teenagers are like this only. So this is like an overgeneralization. Again, it starts to kind of predetermine your response or emotional response or behavioral attitude towards certain situations or certain situations or certain people, right? There is something else which is called as polarization. Again, the world in kind of polarizing thought patterns, the world is purely black or white. Like people are either good or bad, and there is nothing in between. There are no shades of gray. So while when you are with a psychologist, there are different therapies, and these are like the long-term therapies. They basically somebody will help you identify what are these cognitive distortions and what are the maladaptive behaviors and which are not letting you adjust in your home or in your office or with your friends, or not able they are not allowing you to achieve your goals. And once these thought patterns are recognized, there are different types of therapies or interventions which are done to change these thought patterns. So one of the most common techniques is called as cognitive behavior therapy. And I will just explain in brief to you what is cognitive behavior therapy and what is its link with yoga, because here we are talking about the yogic techniques, and it has been as a therapist, for me it is really interesting to see how modern psychology has imbibed or borrowed a lot from these yogic techniques. So let me just give you an example of a cognitive behavior technique which is called as thought challenge. There are other techniques in CBT, but the one I have picked up in particular is called as thought challenge. And the parallel in yoga is Pratipaksha Bhavana, which Sudeepta will take you through. So so what is CBT basically? CBT basically helps you identify, like your therapist will help you identify these automatic thoughts which pop up in your head. What are the situations or the trigger situations where this comes up? So in different people, anxiety will manifest differently. For example, it could be social anxiety, that it does not let you present in front of like you're comfortable in front of 4 or 5 people, but if you have to present in front of 20-30 people, you are not able to, you just get tongue tied. So that would be a particular situation or trigger which is called as social anxiety. There are other situations which are called phobias. For example, fear of dark or fear of heights. Again, these all come under the spectrum of anxiety disorders. So once you have identified the situation or the triggers, the therapist will help you identify the automatic thought pattern or the underlying. I'm sorry, I think there's some noise from outside. Yeah. So the therapist will help you identify the automatic thought pattern which pops up. Why are you not able to, while you're comfortable with 4 to 5 people, why are you not able to present when there are 20 to 30 people in the room? So what is that underlying thought pattern? Is it that you feel you're not capable enough? Is it about your low self-esteem? Or has there been anything previously, there has been an incident where you have been criticized? Is it a lack of skill? What exactly is leading to that kind of response or emotion in that particular situation? The therapist will help you rate your belief system. Like, for example, if you think that I am not good enough to present, my boss is not going to appreciate me, and that always happens, my boss is never appreciative of me. How strongly do you really believe into it? Like, how strong is that belief system? Now, that belief system could be, like I said, it could be a result of your past experiences or something that you have inculcated over a period of time while growing up. Like low self-esteem could be something that has been there for a long time in you. So once that automatic thought pattern is identified, the belief system is rated as to how strong is that belief, how strongly you believe in that thought pattern, and what are the kind of emotions or behavioral attitudes which crop up because of that strong belief system. Next slide. After that, the therapist will help you create a thought challenge. Okay, so the thought challenge is basically those cognitive distortions which I spoke of, like overgeneralization. Oh, my boss never appreciates me. He's always critical of me when I am presenting in front of the entire office. The thought challenge could be: has there been a time where your boss has really appreciated you for something that you brought? It may not be your presentation style, but it could be the data that you put on the slide, right? The hard work that you put behind presenting the data. So it could be a thought challenge where this overgeneralization, my boss never appreciates me, could be broken by saying, remember the instances where your boss kind of really appreciated you and it felt good. So that those kind of thought challenges are created. There could be different thought challenges. Again, the situations these are called as thought adjustments. It could be reframing your thoughts. It could be restructuring your thoughts. Again, these are different techniques which are used. And once that thought adjustment happens, again, you are asked to rate your belief system. Is it true that your boss never appreciates you? Is it true that you always are not able to present in front of, in a crowd? So that belief system is rated again. And then you are kind of given, it's actually called as given the permission to feel the other way. Over a period of time, different options are created so that you can practice it on a long-term basis. The therapist will give you different assignments, usually on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, so that you can actually get exposed to your behavior, to the trigger situation in graded manner. And over a period of time, you are able to overcome your fear and your anxiety. I would ask Sudeepta to like this thought challenge, which is a technique of CBT. You can experience it right here by doing the Pratipaksh Bhavana exercise, which Sudeepta will be taking you through. So Sudeepta, over to you.
Yeah. So you can either do this practice in lying down position, or if you don't have a mat, then go ahead and sit comfortably, just like you have been doing for the other practices. Just adjust yourself till you feel balanced and centered. And notice how you feel at this moment. Consciously relax the body, especially around the shoulders and the arms. Take your awareness back to a moment in time where you felt anxious. One specific moment, maybe from the recent past. Remember who was there in that moment. Remember the sequence of events. And notice how you felt in your body at that moment. Try to experience fully exactly what you went through at that moment. Now slowly let that go. Wipe it off like you're wiping off a slate or a whiteboard. And take yourself back to another similar moment where the same set of people were there. And it was almost the same trigger. But you were able to handle the situation peacefully, calmly. Try to identify a similar situation, but where you were able to maintain your calm. Try to relive that memory, noticing who was there, where it happened. Try to remember it vividly. And relive that feeling of calm and peace, even in a stressful situation. And notice how that felt in your body. Now let that go and slowly begin to come back. Feel your body resting against the floor. Reconnect with the space and the sounds around you. Add small movements to the body. If you're lying down, roll to your side and come up to a seated position. Slowly open your eyes. Back to you, Meghna.
Yeah, thank you, Sudeepta. So basically, there are different techniques in yoga, like we spoke about thought challenge and Bhavana. There are other techniques which help you break through these repetitive thought patterns, forgiveness practice, letting go practice. So these are practices if you do on a daily basis in the long term, it helps you deal with your repetitive thought patterns, which are not letting you adjust, not letting you be adjusted with your family, workplace, friends, or whatever you are trying to achieve in your life. And hence, a long term practice in yoga and yoga therapy can really help you deal with your cognitive distortions. Next slide. Next slide, please.
Yeah, that's most. Cognitive diary.
It again, a long-term practice would be writing a cognitive diary or journaling exercise. If you are the types who likes to write down your thoughts, it can really help you recognize those repetitive thought patterns and the repetitive reactions you have to the same thought patterns. And a lot of people tell me that, oh, we have been journaling for so long, but it really did not help. What I try to bring to their notice is that journaling, especially writing a cognitive diary, is also a technique. It should not be that where you are just writing about the trigger situation and your emotions and just stopping at that, because at that point you would be just reiterating what the situation was so bad, or my response was so bad, or I'm so incapable, and it just stops at that. So that is not really a great journaling technique. It could help you vent out, which is fine, but if you keep on doing that very often, it kind of reiterates your anxiety and your the maladaptive response that you have developed over a period of time. The critical part of writing a cognitive diary is the thought challenge, where you challenge your thought patterns and say, hey, maybe the way that I'm thinking is not really, maybe there is another way, maybe there is, or creating options for yourself. Like, maybe there are other options. It's not that there is no solution to it. Let me look at the other options. So that is a very, very critical part of writing a cognitive diary. And over a period of time, those options that you have created, or the challenges that you have created, you can compile them and make them your own commandments, like 10 commandments of you, for yourself, and then just keep it very handy, maybe at your work desk or on the mirror, so that you can keep on reminding yourself on a long-term basis, okay, this is how, or these are the thoughts which help you adapt. These are the thoughts that help you relieve the anxiety whenever it comes up. So that would be the practice of journaling or writing a cognitive diary, just in brief. So while we have spoken about the quick anxiety relief techniques, which Sudeepta took you through, the body and the breath work, the long-term anxiety management techniques like journaling and cognitive behavior therapy with a psychotherapist, there are some things that I would really request you to do. Like Sudeepta said, there are some self-rating scoring systems which can really help you at least understand, are you really suffering from an anxiety disorder? Because all of us have faced anxiety at some point of time, but it is not something which is really stopping us from being functional in our work or family life or social life. Once it starts to hamper your family, work, or social life is when it becomes a disorder. And the Hamilton A rating scale will help you know, first of all, whether it is a disorder or not, and two, if it is a disorder, what is the severity? It will give you some idea. It is not diagnostic, but definitely it is indicative. For the mild to moderate range is the yogic techniques which Sudeepta said are perfectly fine, because you can do these self-control techniques and they are perfectly fine. But I definitely would recommend that if you are in the higher moderate and severe range, you should seek professional help, because I have often observed that when this anxiety is very severe and sometimes you are not able to even concentrate to do a yogic practice, to do a meditation practice. But once the anxiety has come down from severe to moderate or mild range, the long-term practices work beautifully well. So I would definitely recommend that you kind of figure out if you are in what range of anxiety you are. And for the severe range, pharmacotherapy again works really well. There is a lot of stigma and a lot of misconceptions around the drugs which are used in psychiatry. But again, I would personally recommend that going to letting the professional decide the severity of your anxiety and what works best for you is the best thing you could do for yourself. Next. So I would just leave you with these. Sudeepta?
Yeah. So Karishma, I think you can talk about the program and go through the options that we have.
Yeah, so you can stop sharing your screen. I'll just share my screen.
I'm trying to do that. Yeah, there we go.
Thank you. I'll just share it. So now we'll be talking about the anxiety relief e-learning program that we have. So in this course, you will learn about 7 yogic techniques to manage anxiety. It's 2.5 hours of video lessons, which you will get access to. You can, easily access them on your mobile app or laptop, and you can watch these videos as many times as you want. You will be given, 1-year course access. And of course, Q&A support where you can directly ask your questions and our program experts will answer all your doubts. So we have an e-learning platform. There you can easily ask your questions and your questions will be answered very shortly. Now, Sudeepta, would you like to talk about the course content?
Yes. So in this course, we talked about the different yogic techniques that can help us with anxiety relief and how it works. So we looked at the mind-body connection, for example. So this body relaxation is one of the key ways to help us to connect back to the present moment and to relax the body and the mind together. So that is one of the key steps. Then we have a practice called rotation of awareness. So this is a practice where at the end of PMR, if you notice, after each sense and relax, I asked you to feel the sensations coming from the hands, the arms, and then with the legs, and then from the whole body. So we're connecting with the sensations coming from the body, and that that process is done in a particular way in yoga. We have from toes to the head, and then we have toes to the feet, and we have fingers up to the body and all the way down. So there are different ways of doing body scans. In modern terms, it's called body scan, but it was originally called body rotation of awareness or body rotation of consciousness. So that is another key practice which will help you to begin the process of self-healing. It will also help you to relax and let go of these tensions that are in the body that you're probably not even aware of. And the next technique is Yoga Nidra, which is a combination of body practices, breath practices, and visualization practices. So we go through steps like tense and relax, then we do sound awareness, then we do body rotation of awareness, and then we do a breath awareness practice. So this is a very, very effective technique for helping you fall asleep at night. And also, if you wake up in the night and you're not able to go back to sleep, many people find Yoga Nidra to be extremely effective. And for those of you who feel lethargic sometime in the afternoon because you've not had a good night's sleep, Yoga Nidra is a great way to kind of help you to perk up, get that energy back. It both relaxes you and refreshes you. Then we have 2 pranayam techniques. We did one together, the abdominal breathing technique, and we have another one called Bhramari, which is a combination of sound and breath. So it's a humming breath practice where you chant the sound of ma till you run out of breath. And it is extremely relaxing. It's wonderful for anxiety, and a lot of people are, really appreciative of this particular practice. We've seen this practice getting repeated a lot because it helps you for anxiety. The next is focusing the senses or regrounding. So this is where the quick release comes in, where you use techniques like palming, you use techniques like tense relax, you use ways to connect with your senses, where you listen to the sounds around you or you generate your own sounds, and through your senses you can reconnect back to the present moment. Because like I was saying earlier, anxiety is an issue of the mind, where you're constantly in the mind. So to come out of the mind, you can use the senses, the body, the breath, the what we see, what you hear, what you sense, what you smell, what you taste. So these are the ways to help you reground. So that is another section. And sound-based meditations are also there, where we do akar, ukar, makar. We listen to the sounds around us, yoga nidra with that practice. So that's another part of the techniques that we use. And the last three are, okay, so can you go back to the previous slide, please, Karishma? Before that, yeah. So the last three, the rapid visualization, the affirmations, and gratitude meditations. The rapid visualization is for relaxation. The affirmations and the gratitude meditations are, again, long-term release practices. You can move to the next slide now. Yeah, we already spoke about the quick release technique, and the long-term practices are not just gratitude and affirmations, but also acceptance, because sometimes it's so hard to accept the situation that you're in, the chaos around you. So doing it through a meditation is a wonderful way to get in touch with what is happening and why you're not able to accept it, what is the blockage, and then finally to let go, release that blockage, and then accept the situation, which will make it much more smoother for the next phase of anxiety release. Letting go and filling up, letting go of the things that are stopping you and filling up with the positive energy, whether it is through visualization or just through a practice of gratitude or affirmation. All of these are ways to fill up with positivity. Breaking emotional patterns, we already did a practice with that, and dealing with suppressed emotions. So what we did earlier, the Pratipaksha Bhavana, or the experience of opposite, the way it works is it creates a link between the memory where we are struggling and the memory where we are able to come out of it. So every time you have this this experience, which is putting you back into that triggered state, the link is created in the mind where you are able to recollect this other moment where you were able to do it successfully, or where you were able to keep your calm, and then you know that, yes, I can do it. And then you can come back out of that pattern or the loop that you're in. Next slide, Krishna. I think that is it, right? And then, yeah, so now you can take over, Karishma.
Okay, so we have, of course, as you know, Sudeepta talked about the e-learning course. So even if you want the e-learning course along with some personal counseling session, which is a 45-minute session, where our expert Dr. Meghna will help you explore the possible causes, patterns, and triggers of your anxiety. So you can also, opt for this. We have an amazing offer going on. I'll just talk about that now. Okay, so the anxiety relief program, e-learning program, is for 999, but after the offer which we have, it's for 749. And if you want the anxiety e-learning course along with the personal counseling, the actual price for that is 2,600. But currently we are running an offer which is only till 25th of October. The offer price is 1,950. So these are the offers that we are running as of now. And if you want to buy just the e-learning course, you can scan this QR code, which is there on the screen, and you will be redirected to the registration link, and then you can pay. If you want to pay through GPay or Paytm, the number is already there in the on the slides, and I'll also share the message in the chat section here. You will also be sent this recording on your mail ID and in the WhatsApp group. Every detail will be shared in the WhatsApp group as well. You can apply the code launch25 while buying this e-learning course. And if you want to buy the combo offer, then this is what we have. It's for 2,600, but the 25% offer is valid till 25th of October. You can apply the same code launch25, and then this is for 1,950, the offer price. So I think this is something, the offer that we're running is something you can definitely try on, and this can really help you for your mental well-being for sure. And after you are done with the payment and you register for the course, then you will be given access to the course within 24 hours. And by any chance, if you're paying through Paytm or GPay, please ensure that you share the payment screenshot along with your full name, email, mobile number, city. And if you buy the combo offer, then we'll schedule your personal counseling session, and we'll keep you updated about everything on mail. So maybe I'll keep this first slide on, the offer slide on for some time. Until that time, we can take questions. You can, if you have any questions, you can write them in the chat box, and our experts are here to help you out with any doubts that you have regarding the course, regarding the course syllabus or anything. So we are just waiting for questions. Sudeepta, I cannot see any question as of now.
Yeah.
If you have any doubts, feel free to write them, or maybe you can unmute.
Yeah,
yourself.
I think even unmuting and asking directly is fine.
Sudeepta, you want me to read the questions for you, or can you see the questions?
Yeah. The question is, 20 years of anxiety, can it be resolved? So I would say, first take the anxiety assessment to see where you are at, and depending on where you are on the scale, of course, you can definitely help resolve it. The question is, where are you on the scale, and what are the techniques you need to use to help you come out of it? So today you've experienced a couple of techniques from yoga, but if it's a severe case or high moderate case of anxiety, then you will need support from a psychotherapist in addition to doing the practices that are on the app. So you will probably need to go for the combo offer. I mean, I really recommend that everyone here takes that self-assessment test first, so that you can address it. Meghna, you can add on.
So again, there is no yes, no answer to it. Like I talked about overgeneralization, right? Saying that 20 years of anxiety cannot be treated, or it will go on for a long time. Yes, definitely any illness which has lasted for a long time takes usually would take a long time to heal. But there have been cases where, it just disappears one day. It's like riding a bicycle, right? I mean, you might take a long time to ride the bicycle, you might keep on falling, but one day the balance comes and then it never goes back, right? So it's just like that. It could click, it may take some time, it might never click. So there is no right or wrong answer to it. Yes, no answer to it. But the only thing what you do when learning to ride a bicycle is keep going back. Every time you fall, you keep going back till it does. So the part would be called the effort that you take to deal with it.
And I also think that, you have to find the technique that works for you. So not everyone will feel like working with the body. Not everyone will feel like working with the breath. So you have to kind of figure out which is the one that I connect with the most. And then based on that, you can explore more, because there are so many practices in each of these categories that you can delve into and learn and use. One thing about anxiety is that, if you learn the tools, even when you're not feeling anxious, that's the best way to do it, because when you need it, you can instantly do it. At that moment, it's very difficult to suddenly learn a new technique. So while you're anxious, if you're trying to do it, or you're trying to play the audio and try to figure it out, it's very difficult. So first thing in the morning, you practice the technique. Then later in the day, when you need it, you can kind of recall it quickly and you can use it. Any other questions or feedback or comments? Anyone wants to add?
So I cannot see any questions as of now. So maybe, people who are here can definitely enroll for the course, and you will get the Q&A support, and any doubts that you have, you can surely, ask through the e-learning platform. So I think it's already 7:30, so maybe we can wrap it up.
Okay.
Would you like to share something as an ending note or something?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, yoga is such an effective technique for anxiety relief. Sorry, somebody is saying something? Okay, so I really believe that yoga is a wonderful way to help relieve anxiety, because I've seen so many of my students use the techniques to come out of anxiety, to help reduce the frequency and reduce the intensity both. So it's really there for you, and so many different types of techniques, whether it's breath or body or movement asana, or even simple body rotation of awareness. So many different ways are there. So I really recommend that you start the practice, to try out this course and see where your best outcome is, which of these sections. And please go ahead and do the evaluation, even even before you take the course. Do the evaluation, figure out where you are on the scale, so you at least become more aware of where you are at.
Yeah, and I would just end with a note saying that yoga therapy, or it's called as mindfulness-based cognitive behavior therapy in psychology, it's pretty recent. I mean, it's like maybe just 20 years old that psychology has really started doing a lot of studies and recognizing the use of yoga in management of anxiety, depression, and other common mental illnesses. And there are loads of scientific studies to prove that it benefits both in short term and long term. And I would definitely urge you to try it on your own. Like Sudeepta said, each one would have their own techniques and preferences. But yes, it is definitely a tool that will help you deal with your anxiety.
Thank you so much, Dr. Meghna and Sudeepta, for such an insightful session. And I just hope that all of you enjoyed and you might have learned a lot through this session. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us and being there with us throughout the session. We will share the recording with you, as I said, on your WhatsApp and your mail ID as well. So thank you so much, and have an amazing evening ahead. Thank you so much to the experts as well.
Thank you, Karishma. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, and good night.